Hi guys, welcome back to Live Vulnerably.
Today we're going to be talking about fear. Fear is a very prevalent thing that keeps a lot of us from moving forward. We've experienced it before in our relationship, in our creativity, in friendships, in connecting with people.
In life.
In a lot of different ways. There's going to be three main fears that we're talking about, three types that stop you from moving forward. And those types are the fear of failure, the fear of success, and the fear of what other people think. So we're going to dive right in.
So the fear of failure is something that I have always experienced. I don't like being a failure, and a lot of people decide, like, it feels like if you fail, you are a failure. And that's just not true. But the fear of failure has kind of paralyzed me from just doing things. I'm really comfortable sitting in the fact that, like, I have potential, I could do this, but I'm choosing not to, and for some reason that's made me feel more powerful than actually facing that fear of failure and moving forward. So in that, sitting in like comfort and what I feel like is power, I haven't really done anything.
It seems to be a buzz phrase to say, don't let the fear of failure stop you, or some iteration of that phrase. But taking a good hard look at the fear of failure usually requires addressing a deeper root about why you actually feel that a fear of failure is something to, validate your thoughts. Lost my train of thought for a second. There's usually a deeper root, and that's usually a root belief about yourself or about your circumstances. For us, we've recognized a few different ways that root has come out, and there's always deeper levels to address that. But I encourage you to take a few minutes and address what might be playing into that fear of failure for you. For me, one of the key things that I had attached fear of failure to is that my identity was rooted in how I performed. Whether or not I failed at something or whether or not I succeeded at it was going to be an indicator of who I was as a person.
Or how valuable.
Yeah, or how valuable. Now sure, it might say a lot about work ethic, or it might say a lot about habits, and we're total advocates for continuing to press yourself and set goals for yourself, press onward, push yourself, etc. However, when you attach your worth or your identity with a performance, that's where you actually get into some real hazy territory, and you start believing a lot less about yourself than what you're meant to believe. Friends, we want to tell you, you are valuable and you're worth something, even if you don't succeed. And failure is a part of life. That's something you hear a lot. We're just going to reiterate that. It is a part of life. We encourage you to find a way to detach the idea of failing at something from who you are as a person, because I promise you failure will only make you stronger. And when you confront that fear, you'll find a really powerful and strong way to move past it.
That's really beautiful.
You're really beautiful.
So fear of success is something that is very, almost like foreign as a concept to me. I didn't really realize that was something, but it's almost more of fear of failure, or it's almost more of a fear of wanting to sustain success. So for me, if I write a book and I publish it, then I feel like, oh my gosh, there's automatic expectation for me to write and publish another book. And maybe I don't want to do that. And so for some reason, when you push past fear of failure, it almost like flips the script, like, well, haha, there's fear of success too, because then you have to keep doing this thing, even if you don't really want to. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the fear of success is another one that, again, is rooted in deep belief about yourself and about the world around you. For me, when I confronted the fear of success, I didn't immediately find great success in anything. We're still plugging away at life and trying to be successful at things. But still, confronting that fear has been able to help my mind move past the thought that I need to have a plan for the next 25 years of my life. So often, a fear of success is going to be rooted in thinking that you need to control the entire narrative about your future. And that's just not life. Life happens, circumstances happen, unexpected events happen, and we hear all the time, take it one day at a time. That really is a principle that's going to help you understand that fear of success is not something you need to carry with you as baggage in going forward and being successful in something. In fact, fear of success can often be a blocker to your creativity. I know for us, starting Live Vulnerably was actually a big fear of success thing. Now, we didn't expect it to necessarily blow up overnight and then write a book and then, go be on a talk show. That's not what we're saying. But we did say, what's going to happen if, a lot of people start watching our videos or a lot of people start reading our blog? Are we going to have to sustain that? And are we afraid of sustaining being vulnerable? And let me tell you, when we confronted that together, and we still confront that in the day-to-day, we know that there's a lot of power to taking it one day at a time and saying, you know what, let's do one more video, let's do one more blog, let's do one more vulnerable post. And we don't necessarily need to have the plan for what Live Vulnerably is going to look like 5 years from now. That's okay. It's okay to be present and in the moment and recognize this fear of success should not stop me from at least doing one thing. And then don't let it stop you from doing another thing, etc., etc. One of my favorite things I like to say is that I don't think God or the universe or anyone expects you to have steps 1 through 10 for your whole life.
Yeah.
I think you're expected to have a step 1 and then rest a bit and then have another step 1. So I encourage you to take that mindset going forward and evaluate whether or not you're afraid of succeeding, because you'll have to sustain it.
Just as a side note, I feel like fear of success is also tied to fear of responsibility, or just being confined, because I feel, just looking at my own life, if I'm successful in one area and the expectation is that I sustain that, what if I don't want to do that anymore? What if I don't want to, I feel like projecting a future for myself almost narrows my path to an extent that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I think that's a lot of unpacking that I might need to do there as I'm talking this through, but it really has something to do with not wanting to put myself in a box, and just know, truly there is no box. There doesn't need to be, if you imagine yourself like a plant, which is a metaphor I really enjoy using, and we're among many plants now, sometimes a plant will outgrow the space that it's in and then you move it. You don't need to put the plant in an open field and be like, you have lots of potential. It's okay to transplant yourself. It's okay to change the direction or your setting, and you're free to do that. You're alive and you're free to grow, whichever direction that looks like.
There's a plane overhead. Pause for commercials.
Travel. We love travel. So the third and final fear we will be talking about is a very, very common and commonly acknowledged one.
The fear of what other people think. This one's a big one, because if you're not careful to actually combat that fear, then you will live your entire life only in service of what other people think. It'll lead to people pleasing, it'll lead to shutting out a lot of your heart, which is something that we talked about in a previous video about connecting with your heart. It'll lead to missing out on your full potential, it'll lead to a lot of anxiety, and really not being authentic in yourself with your relationships and with the people around you.
Yeah, I think I think that comes from people pleasing. A lot, at least in my life, for me, I want to make sure everyone feels covered and everyone feels loved and seen and heard and good at cost of myself actually doing things that I should do. So that actually kind of ties into something that I've recently unpacked in my own heart, is self-sabotage. For some reason, I've been so eager, even in high school, I would write a paper on behalf of someone and I would have the exact same assignment for myself, but if I had to do it for me, I wouldn't do it. And for some reason, for me, that's a deeper layer of fear of man or people pleasing. I just had a hard time doing things for myself. So yeah, I think it's really, really important and healthy, as we always say, to look at your heart and understand the why of what you're feeling and the why of what you're doing. So fear of man for someone could look like, my dad's a doctor, I need to be a doctor. Or it could be my grandparents would think I'm insane if I moved to the other side of the world. Or I like this person and I don't know if they would like it if I was truly genuinely myself. So it's really, really, really crucial to know who you are as a person and know why you are the way that you are, because then you can actually step forward into the world and do things.
Yeah, guys, it's about that root belief about yourself and the world around you. All three of these fears come back to that. For me, when I evaluate the fear of people pleasing, I recognized that deep down, I believe that in order to have value, I needed people to like me or people be pleased with my decisions. And again, of course, I love making people happy. You know, I love having friends.
And there's nothing wrong with those
There's
things.
nothing wrong, exactly. But that is not the way to live your life and make all your decisions. And I know we're preaching, I'm sure, to a lot of you who already know this, and that's fine. We just want to give you that reminder to confront what you might be believing deep down that is playing into these fears, because there's so many practical ways that we stop ourselves from moving forward. Whether we're moving forward in pursuing a relationship or connecting with people or having a new experience or even letting a wall down to listen to another perspective or moving forward in what we're creating. And these three types of fears are ways that we have seen be so prevalent in our decision making. And when the light was shed on them, we wanted to share them with you because they shouldn't keep you from moving forward.
That's right. So let us know if you have any questions about some of the things that we've gone through more specifically, or if you just have anything you'd like to share about conquering fear in your own life, or maybe some of a different fear that you've seen in yourself. We would love to hear about it. We always want to expand our perspective, and we want this, again, to be an interactive thing. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Hope to see you next time. Well, we won't see you. You'll see us.
Okay, bye.
Bye.